This is Rev Michelle Hopkins. A YouTube friend of mine messaged me and told me about this video that Wow For Real, I know that's a great ID, right? Wow For Real posted on his page. It's entitled 14-Mile Long Thing Buried in Antarctica, How to Find Using Google Earth. And this is Antarctica on Google Earth as he shows, and this is the thing that he believed was buried in Antarctica. Well, here it is, very close to Davis Station. Now, at Davis Station, you can see we have numerous different TTAs that are listed. These are just the ones that are listed. Let me tell you a little bit about Davis Station. Davis Station is the permanent base in Antarctica managed by the Australian Antarctic Division, AAD. This is the busiest Australian scientific research station, and I truly believe that. All the information here that it is an Australian Antarctic territory. The particular area that this is in is called Leopold and Astrid Coast. And this is what he was referring to. My friends, I would like to introduce to you the Davis Station Antarctica TTA extension. Some of it may actually be buried, but for the most part, it is very much on terra firma, as I will show you in a moment. But before we do that, let's go to Davis Station. First of all, one of the TTAs that Davis Station has is LIDAR. The principle of LIDAR is that it is a combination between laser and radar, meaning that it is focused, very, very highly condensed, very high pressure, focused light and frequency together. Now, I've told you many times that we can do a myriad of things, countless things we can't even imagine yet because we just haven't figured out how to do it with frequency. The possibilities are limitless. Well, combine frequency with laser technology and the possibilities are astronomical. The next thing here is what is called the Davis Antarctica MF radar. Does this look familiar to you? If it looks very similar to you, this is when they were setting it up. Yes, this is a HAARP type TTA. This is a HAARP type Tesla Tech array in the making. It's long since been made, but this was the beginnings of it before it was completed. So now we have this Davis Station Antarctica TTA extension. Now, when I saw this video that Wow For Real had done, again, I was very impressed, and I said, Lord, show me what's down there. Show me what it does, because for some reason I feel it's pertinent to know right now. So I went to Google Earth and I took the picture and I used a program to find out what was under there, and lo and behold, this is what I found. There is a structure under there. It's absolutely gigantic. Whatever it is very powerful. We know that Davis Station, which this is an extension of, is basically TTAs. It's very busy, very powerful, constantly every day in use. This is another TTA. It has the same kind of antenna arms that we saw on a video beforehand very powerful TTA structure. And I want to show you something else. Do you see here the permafrost in front of this TTA to a certain point is melted? Do you remember where we saw that before? The permafrost in front of a TTA melted. The reason the permafrost was so melted was that the frequency went over it and melted it. It was so hot. Well, let's turn this around a little bit so we can get a better perspective as to exactly where this frequency was going. Up in the northeast direction from how we've got it situated. Well, let's take a look at where that is. Northeast from here passes these islands. What are these islands? Tahiti. It goes past the Hawaiian Islands and directly toward the Alaskan coast, the southwestern continental Alaskan coast. As soon as I saw that, the direction of this, I had to investigate. I said to myself, there must be active frequency planes that show exactly the activity that's going on between this area. Let's find out what they're doing. This is that TTA plane coming up off of the Antarctic through the very low hanging clouds, very low, very thick clouds of the Antarctic, skidding on through them and making an impression on the upper portion of the cloud here, as you can see. Let me open that up a little bit. You can see the downward impression that it's going down as this frequency is going up. This is frequency passing northeast above the Antarctic coast from that Davis Station Extension TTA. Now we saw the direction that the TTA went. I want to show you the frequency that is coming up off of that Tesla Tech array in Antarctica. Remember, this Tesla Tech array is Australian, and we have seen in the past all of the array activity that's been going on from Australia to other places to cause all kinds of weather issues and tectonic stress issues. Well, let's look at this plane. Let's really look at this plane. This is a frequency plane. The reason we call it a frequency plane is because as the frequency is emitted and passes north in this direction in this instance, particulates in the air gather into that plane, are charged electrically, magnetically, and are brought together, collected together in that plane because they are attracted to it. Now you'll notice this plane with all these atmospheric particulates in it is flying very, very low. It's so low, it's underneath the cloud strata. You see, the clouds are on top of this plane. This frequency plane is passing so low from Antarctica that it's passing underneath the clouds even by the time it gets over the ocean, just north of Antarctica. That's why the permafrost was melted. Now, as we go forward, we notice that it's much more plain to see. It's getting a little bit higher and a little bit higher. But still, it's below the clouds. In the next image, just northeast of that, we can still barely see that plane because there are not enough particulates in this part of the atmosphere that are collected around it to see it. But as we go forward, we begin to see it a little bit better. And you notice the clouds are still above that TTA plane. It becomes more noticeable the closer it gets to these islands. These are Tahiti. This is Tahiti. And as you notice, this Tesla Tech array frequency plane is still so low that the islands of Tahiti are caught in its frequency waves. Do you see this? These islands are caught in those waves. The waves are breaking up as they're coming to the islands and then coming back together again. Breaking up as they come, going around and coming back together again. And as you can see, the islands are protruding up through this plane. That's how low this plane is. That's how little the powers that be care that these extremely high pressure frequencies are hurting people. I want you to really grasp this. This infrasound, that's what this is. This is infrasound. It's extremely high pressure frequency waves that are passed through the atmosphere or wherever they are passed. They do terrible things to people's bodies. Terrible, terrible things. But they don't care. They pass it through the entire island structure. All of the islands are perturbed by these frequencies that are going by them. People are becoming ill, they're becoming sick, they're having vertigo, their bodies are trembling inside, they are feeling this frequency, and after this frequency passes over, for every 5 minutes of frequency, 2 hours of recuperation is required in the human body. That is how much these powers that be care about our welfare. This frequency plane continues to pass forward, and in this we're still noticing it's going very low. It's very low, still underneath the clouds. Just northeast of that, right here just south of the Hawaiian Islands, the TTA begins to travel through the cloud strata. As you can see, it's coming through these clouds. Now it's over the cloud strata, you see? Over the clouds. Higher and higher over the clouds until, boom! It hits the ionospheric ceiling right here. Careens right in to the ionospheric ceiling, right there, and begins to come down again. Now I'm going to point some things out to us before we finish the journey to the end of this frequency plane's destination. Let's mark here, this is yesterday, 3/20/2013 at 20:05 UTC. 20:05 UTC is 8:05 UTC, 8:05 p.m. On the East Coast, it would be 3:05 p.m. This is the area we're looking at on this map. It happens to be the southwest coast of Alaska, just north of the continental United States. This TTA plane has grown in that bell-shaped to this wide. I can't even tell you how many hundreds, perhaps thousands of miles, perhaps about 1,500 miles wide. I'm not sure, I don't know. But that TTA plane is coming northward, under the clouds. It's causing a kind of skidding under the clouds, as you can see. Undulatus asperatus, that's what it's causing in these clouds. The TTA plane goes from here to here. I'm not sure if you can see the marking, but the mark is clearly marked on this map. I can see it very well on both sides, here and here. Let's follow that plane upwards to its destination. And we find that there is no plane past this area. It has plummeted, dived down into the ocean along the coast of Alaska, right in front of the Queensland area of the western coast of Alaska, especially here and here. And you can tell in the clouds that there is an explosion of upward motion as this dives down into the ocean. You can see it right here in the clouds. See this explosive upward motion. It's diving down, right down into, you can see these clouds pulled down with it right down at the edge, right at this tectonic plate, the North American tectonic plate, right here at Queen Charlotte Island of the Canada region of the southwestern shore of Alaska, exactly where all these earthquakes have been taking place recently. Since the end of last year, at the beginning of this year, earthquake after earthquake happening right here, all the way down this tectonic plate. All the way down the tectonic plate. Because of the instability that is being caused right here, right at this tectonic plate edge, right in front of these islands, exactly where it hit. I've said to you over and over again, these earthquakes are taking place because we, that is the powers that be, with frequency, particularly in this case, the Australian-owned Antarctica Davis Station Extension, TTA. As late as yesterday, instability in this entire area, and I would venture to say this is a continuous thing, intermittently, causing instability throughout this region. We're being told by the powers that be. Scientists around the world are telling us now they expect thousands to die from a massive earthquake any time now on the U.S. West Coast. I have to ask myself, how do they know that it's going to happen? My humble opinion is they're helping it to happen. I'd also like to point out where it hit the ionosphere and ricocheted off the ionosphere. There were 2 earthquakes right in that area, right where it hit the ionosphere. You know, I wonder if these sonic booms that we hear, I wonder if not only just the frequency passing through the area faster than the speed of sound, but when it hits the ionosphere and ricochets off the ionosphere, does it cause a sonic boom? I would say probably yes, a very loud booming sound because of the concussion that it causes. And right where it hit the ionosphere, 2 earthquakes took place. The powers that be are telling us to expect some huge earthquakes of high magnitude in this area in the very near future. They're telling us that right now. Expect it within the next few weeks, perhaps. And I have maintained from the very beginning of when I started to bring this out, the Pacific Behemoth, these hydroacoustic cables that are passed throughout the Pacific, and the Leviathan that lays on the floor of the Atlantic. These all are for the purposes of weather control and seismic instability, along with other reasons that they're being used. But they are very often used to cause earthquakes. The powers that are in control, the Navy, different military branches, they have come out and said, well, yeah, we're doing it because we want to ease off the pressure before the big one comes. But I maintain it isn't to ease off the pressure, it's to cause the big one. Now, I've told you, Satan are telling these powers that be, if you want to be a god of this world, you must control not only the weather, but you must control earthquakes. You must control volcanoes. Otherwise, you are not a god of this world. When you have done all these things, when you control all these things and control life on the earth by GMO, by taking the lives of people, by taking genetic material, bastardizing it, crossing it, making new, very strange species that can't really make it, but creating new species, by killing off mankind, by recreating mankind, i.e. transhumanism, it's the same satanic lie we were given as humanity in the Garden of Eden when Satan said to them, if you do this, you will become as gods. You know, Jesus mentioned that there were prophecies about him in the Psalms. Not just prophecies about him, but prophecies about the end times, the last days. And Psalm 46 is one such psalm. It is for us today. Let me read part of Psalm 46. God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. Therefore we will not fear, though the earth give way, and the mountains fall into the sea, though its waters roar and foam, and the mountains quake with their surging. The Lord Almighty is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress. This is Rev Michelle Hopkins. Thank you for watching, and God bless you.